Hello everyone. Can we start? Someone can say whether I am audible and all well. You are able to see me. Can you confirm in the chat? All right. Okay. So let's start with the topic for today. That is Scrum Events. I'm not going to use any slide deck or anything. I'm just going to talk to you all and maybe tell us a flow of all the things that we need to do as part of the Scrum Events and what exactly is Scrum Events all about. So that is the core agenda of the day. And we will take questions at the end. If you have anything related to Scrum events, you can leave it in the chat section. And also, I will tell about what you can expect from this channel at the end going forward. We will keep that the last session for the day. Okay, so let's start with the Scrum event. So anything we do, okay, any task we do, we generally try to collect the information first, right? So for example, I want to uh, travel to a different place. First, what I will do, I will try to learn about the place. What are the things that I can do in the place, and how I can reach that place. What are the things I need to take care from my end, and what are the risk I can actually think of when I'll be traveling to that place. These all are certain things when you will be actually trying to understand or trying to learn about the requirements. You will be knowing all these things, right? So anything you do as a task or anything you perform as a task, the first thing is understand the details, get more clarity, ask a lot of questions, get more information, remove the uncertainties, get into a place where you can actually give estimate. Let me put a very simple example. Okay, for every event, I'm going to tell a simple example so that you can correlate. I'm not going to talk about what I have already discussed in the videos because most of you had already gone through that. So I'm not going to talk about that again. I'm going to talk about the things which you can correlate going forward anytime you are going to think about, okay, what is refinement and all those things, right? Okay. So if my friend is actually staying somewhere close by, okay, and she is calling me and saying, Sylvie, I want to come and meet you. I said, okay, fine, please come. Then she is asking me a lot of questions like, Sylvie, where are you exactly? You are at your home or at your parents' place, or where exactly you are now? How I can come to your place when by flight or by train or by bus or by my car? All those questions she had. And also, she was curious in asking some of the things like when I'll be traveling from my place to your place, how the weather is going to be, what are the things I need to really take care of, and all those things she was asking. Okay, so what she's trying to do here, she has a goal. She has something like she wants to come and meet me. My friend wants to come and meet me, that's it. But when she is having that at her head, what all the questions she is asking, because she wants to execute the plan, means she wants to know all these details, right? So anything you do as part of your task or requirement, first thing is you collect all the information, you try to clarify with the right person. So who is the right person in the backlog refinement world? For backlog refinement, we generally talk to our product owner because product owner owns the product backlog. So I'm coming to that point later. Okay, so don't confuse with that. So now let's get back to the story. So she's trying to ask a lot of questions and she gets to know now, okay, Selvi is in this place. So if I want to go and meet Selvi, I need to take my car. If I'm taking my car, I need to ensure these are the dependencies I have. I need to fill my fuel, and I need to ensure that I have sufficient things that I need to have it in my car so that I can go for that long journey. And also the climate, the weather conditions are not so favoring. So she's trying to do all those things, okay, whatever the information that I have shared with her. So she is trying to resolve all the dependencies. She is understanding what all the risk that she may face when she's going to travel from that place to my place, when she's going to visit me. And also the other point here is like she is making herself ready by removing all the uncertainty so that she can tell me, Selvi, by tomorrow I will come and meet you. How she's saying tomorrow she'll be able to come and meet me? Because she knows, okay, now what is the distance, and she knows how the weather condition is. So at the max, what is the delay that can happen? And she's also thinking about all the dependencies. Okay, I'm going to use my car. So now what are the things I need to really take care of? So she is actually looking to clarify the dependencies, resolve the dependencies, understand the risk, mitigate the risk, and also try to understand what is the amount that she needs to invest from driving from that place to my place, right? So that is the time she has taken care of everything, and she has thought about all the complexities that are involved in that journey. So after getting all this information, she is telling me, tomorrow I will be able to come and meet you, Sylvie. What is that? That is estimation, right? So backlog refinement is the same thing. The very first event, that is the backlog refinement event, it is all about clarifying the details. When someone is asking you to do something, you cannot just go and say, yeah, tomorrow I'll complete. No, right? You will ask a lot of questions. You will try to understand what exactly the requirement is all about, and you will try to ensure that you have all sufficient information. And also, when you are trying to do that, you will also ensure whether I have resolved all the dependencies. At least I have captured all the dependencies. What are the risks that I might face when I'm going to do this? All those things you will be taking care. That is what is all about backlog refinement. So at the end of the backlog refinement, you will come up with the estimation. When I say you is not a single person here, it is the team. So team actually asks questions to product owner, right? So product owner is the person who is owning the product backlog, right? So product backlog is what? Actually product backlog is going to hold all the requirements. That is basically the scope of the project is available in the product backlog. Anything and everything. If you have a bug that you need to fix, if you have a new requirement that you need to implement, you have a new nice to have functionality that you may or may not pick it up, but it is actually a functionality that you feel it is better to have in your project. You are adding all those things in your product backlog. So product backlog is basically the whole scope of your project is available in the product backlog, and this product backlog is owned by product owner. So backlog refinement, only product owner is going to speak all the time, only people will be asking questions. It's not the reality. What happens here, if I'm a product owner, I may be having a lot of information about the requirement, business requirement or a functional requirement. What is a functional requirement means? When you are trying to provide a business solution to a requirement that is coming from business. For example, uh, I want login page to have additionally uh, barcode scanning as well. So far we had only username and password. Going forward, we are going to use barcode scanning. This is a business requirement. Business is asking, hey, we want some functionality like this because our product wants this kind of functionality because it is in the market and we badly need this. So this is a functionality that is coming from the business, which is a functionality that is called as functional requirement. So now this functional requirement, when I say business, there will be business owners, different stakeholders like marketing people, sales people, all those people are going to be there, right? So they are going to explain that. Product management team take all those information from them, listen to those information, they get all those information, and they try to get the requirement completely. Okay, what are the pros and cons, whether it is feasible according to the technology what we are using, everything they try to clarify. First level of clarification, because when someone is telling me, I cannot just take it, right? I'll be having a lot of questions. So at product management level, this discussion happens, and once product management is clear about that, they take it to the team. That is where backlog refinement happens. So backlog is basically a sorted list. So as I said, it has the scope of the project, right? So you will be having too many items, so it may be congested, right? So how, as a person, like anyone coming and looking at my product backlog, how they understand what should come first, what should be the last one? That is where priority comes into picture. Product owner owns this product backlog. It is very important to maintain this product backlog in such a way the top items are the priority items. Okay, when you go down, the priority is going to reduce. At the same time, the clarity the team has also reduce, because more and more the priority, you would have already got so much of information, you would have removed uncertainties, you got a lot of clarification. So top of the list is holding things which are having good level of information, good level of clarity. When you go down, you need more refinement, you didn't have even refined so far. That is the state. Okay, so imagine this is a list. Okay, it's a kind of like uh, a vertical jar where you have kept a lot of potato chips. Okay, so at the top of the place at the top of the jar, you have things which are very readily available, and the down you have things which are not really cooked, it's still in the cooking stage. Imagine like that. So at the top you have all the items that are readily available for execution. So that is where actually this question always comes for people. Hey, my product owner is unavailable, how can I actually plan my sprint? Team should be already aware of this, right? It is not product owner's responsibility to say. Product owner, of course, his or her role here is very important, because as a team we are going to come up with a sprint goal. But at the same time, this top list, right, the priority list is always going to be known for each and every member of the team, so they know. Even product owner is not there, we know, okay, what we need to take it at the next step for execution. So that's where this product backlog gets into picture. Now, back into the topic of whether product owner alone needs to do the refinement session. It is not that way. When technical requirements are coming, for example, what is a technical requirement? That may be a next question, right? Sometimes actually we will do some kind of feasibility study. It may be a spike, or it may not be a spike, it may be an implementation story also. But it is not going to deliver a value from business point of view, but from technical point of view, we actually open some doors. For example, you are checking some two options which are actually available as option for a particular problem, but you don't know which option to follow. That time what exactly you do, you try to actually pick up the things in a way like, okay, I will perform a spike, and from the spike actually I will try to ensure that, okay, I have all the information now, and now I know which option is the best option, and which actually I can go ahead and do the implementation. This is actually a technical feasibility study. So this is actually a spike, but there are also situations where we, more than a spike also, we do technical implementation, which gives a technical value, which helps us to implement some functionality or some business requirements later in the sprint cycles. So now, for these kind of refinements, right, where functional requirements are not there or business requirements are not there, even your technical lead actually shares the information, or your architect shares the information. They actually drive the show. They actually explains the details. They clarifies the questions from team. So it is not, if someone is saying, okay, product owner is going to run the backlog refinement session, it is not the case. It is owned by the complete team. So now, I don't want to get into so much of details because most of you would have gone through all the topics. So backlog refinement, now it is all about understanding the requirement. So when you are understanding the requirement, you are trying to get into different factors like dependencies, risk, what is the complexity, and how much work I need to invest, what is the value that we are delivering. Everything as a whole, you are trying to get the answer. And with that answer, you are going to come up with the outcome, which is called as the estimation. So backlog refinement outcome is not only the estimation, even the list of dependencies, list of risk, and any kind of open questions, all these things are also the outcome of backlog refinement. Okay, now as a team, we got the complete clarity. Okay, what we will do next? We will get into the planning because we are ready. So to ensure the readiness, we have different factors. What are those factors? Definition of ready. So definition of ready is a checklist, which is a dynamic checklist, which helps us to claim the situation whether we are really ready or not. Okay. So you can maintain this checklist according to the nature of your project. So you can have 10 items, you can have 12 items, you can have whatever the number of items you need in the checklist. You will ensure every time that you are satisfying this checklist so that you are really ready, right? Because you just don't want to commit on something. When we say commit in the sprint planning, we will commit to a goal. So before getting into the goal commitment, we always get into that level of understanding, okay, whether everything is ready, I won't get into any kind of hurdle, or I won't get into any kind of blocker during my execution. Whether I'm really ready, then they will get into the show. So now comes the question. So I'm trying to put the questions, okay? Like I'm not getting into the detail. So you have something more in the backlog refinement, which is called as product backlog health, backlog efficiency, and what is the time that you need to invest for the backlog refinement, when you can skip the backlog refinement. We have separate episodes for all these things. But you have any questions related to that, I'm happy to answer, but I'm not going to cover all those things. I'm just going with the flow of explaining all the events, so that if more questions are coming in, I'm very much happy to explain those questions. All right, so now is the planning. So here comes the question, hey, everything we explained in detail in the backlog refinement, do we need a separate planning meeting, right? We can just go ahead and pick up the top items and just go ahead with the flow. No, that's not the reality, right? It cannot be also feasible. First of all, there is something called as capacity of the team, right? So you have certain capacity from your team, that much only they can work. All 10 items, 15 items may be priority, all 15 cannot be worked by the team because they don't have that much of time. So first thing is, among the priority, what can be achieved in this period of time and with the capacity available from the team. Number one. Number two, in all the priority items, everything already sorted out with definition of ready, maybe not. So what is actually like going to be a threat for us, what is exactly not going to be threat, that is again a different call. And from the time of backlog refinement to sprint planning, maybe priority would have changed. We don't know. Product should answer that question. And also, based on that priority, we should be able to change or shuffle certain things that also should come from product. So these all are the very important key points why we have a dedicated planning meeting. So I'll talk about some more factors as well. So what happens in the planning meeting? So whenever we are planning something, what exactly we look from the plan? We should have what is our goal from the planning, what we achieved as a goal. To achieve that goal, now what we need, for example, user management is my goal. For example, this sprint we are going to complete the user management module of our product. So in the user management module, so if we have this as a goal, what are the things we can achieve in the user management? Adding users, modifying users, removing users, assigning permissions to users. These all are the four stories available. Okay, let's take these four stories as example. So for achieving this goal, team is going to pick up these stories from the product backlog and they create a temporary backlog for the sprint, which is called as a sprint backlog. So sprint backlog is a temporary or a subset of product backlog, which is going to live only for the period of the sprint cycle. Even if you complete it or not, doesn't matter. Whether partially completed, doesn't matter. Whether not at all started, doesn't matter. So if your sprint length is of 10 days, this backlog is going to live for 10 days. On the last day of the sprint, regardless of the status of the work item, it is going to complete. The backlog is going to be expired, right? So now in the planning session, we are going to perform very key activities like identifying the sprint goal. So what is the need of the sprint goal? So we are planning some 5 to 6 items like user management. These are the things. Why we need to call out, oh, we are going to achieve user management. What is the uh, agenda behind that? See, as a team, we are planning, product owner, scrum master, and the development team is there. They know because they are discussing, they know why only addition, removal, modification of users, permission, all these things are added. They know very well because they have that much of capacity, and the goal is all about delivering this user management. That's it. There are people who are stakeholders who are not going to attend the sprint planning meeting, right? For example, I am a person from marketing team. I want to understand what this team is actually performing, like in the sprint, what I can expect in the sprint review. They cannot go through each and every work item. Oh, they are performing addition. Okay, no, they won't do that. So this sprint goal is going to be a single statement, which is going to clearly explain to people what exactly this is all about. Simple. So we are conveying the message, and now they are interested. Oh, user management. Oh, I'm curious what exactly they are doing. Then they may go into the details like, oh, they are doing addition, modification, removal. Oh, this is what I'm expecting. So they can understand. So sprint goal is going to act as a goal for the team, which they should actually aim for during the last day of the sprint to complete that. And also, in addition to that, for stakeholders who are not attending or not day to day interacting with the team, for them to give a very concise information what exactly we are performing, the sprint goal is going to be helpful. Okay, all right. Now we have made this plan. So we have a sprint goal. To achieve the sprint goal, what are the things that we can add? We have taken from the product backlog and created the sprint backlog. All right. Now our things are ready. Is that done? No. Sometimes more than capacity, team may think and they may pull it. Now it's Scrum Master's responsibility to say, hey, no, you know what is our velocity? I'm just telling the high level terminologies. We will get into detail of what is capacity, what is velocity when we get into those topics. Okay, so I'm just explaining in this flow for today for the Scrum events, but we have already anyway detailed videos. Most of you would have gone through already. So Scrum Master's responsibility is to understand and explain here to the team, hey, this is the velocity. Generally, this is the pace we run with, and this is the capacity we have. So let's stop here with our commitment. We can plan some kind of stretch commitment if we want, but let's not commit everything because we may not have the bandwidth. And it is also very important, if team is missing this information, Scrum Master's role is to help team to make it very clear whether we are meeting the definition of ready for certain work items or not. If Scrum Master or team members feeling somewhere there is a risk, then you can very well say that this item we cannot pick it up because there is a high risk we may get into a blocker during the sprint execution. So these all things we are discussing. Are we done? No, we are not done. So the next step is task breakdown. So we break down. Now we have high level what are the things that we are going to do, right? Like all the work items. But we need to understand who is going to perform what, right? Because okay, we have 5 stories. In addition itself, we have many things like someone needs to do the back end piece, someone needs to do the front end, and we need to integrate, we need to do the testing, we need to update in the documentation, who is going to do what. So we are trying to break down the story into different tasks. Is this mandatory? Not necessary. If your team is mature to handle at the story level, you can run the show with that. And if you feel there are too many members and there is a collaboration which is must required, and it will be really helpful if you get into the task level breakdown, then you should help your team to get into that. One suggestion I can call out here is do not create every task at the task breakdown or a sprint planning level meeting. You can use templates. Whatever the tool you use for agile project management, you can very well create templates. So you can ask your product owner to use the template when he or she is going to create the story, so that automatically those tasks are going to be available. When I say task, do not think that this is the standard list, right? It's not going to be the standard list. It may increase, maybe some of the things may not be required for some stories, but what I'm saying is, like for example, test case design, test case review, test case execution definitely will be there. Peer review, what else, we unit test and design, coding, certain things, right? Like API contract, all those things are going to be standard for most of the stories. So ask your team to come up with this template and have this template available in your management tool, and make use of the tool so that every time it's going to be available. It's a matter of just team going to get into that collaboration to add the assignee, and if something is not required they can remove that. Something is required as an additional task, they can add it. So you are saving good amount of time, and your team is also not feeling, oh, my planning meeting I need to keep on writing all this information. That definitely will be avoided, right? So that is one tip I can share which helped me. All right. So this is how we do the planning. Now we know what we are going to work for the next 10 days. So this is the scope of the sprint. So the scope of the project is available in the product backlog. The scope of the sprint is available in the sprint backlog. So this is going to be our short term goal. Like, what is the short term goal? Which is the sprint goal. For the next 10 days, our entire focus is on achieving this particular sprint backlog. Okay, now we have planned, we started running. Every day, how are we running? Every day, are we really making progress, or somewhere we are blocked, or we need help, or what are we foreseeing, any kind of issues, or anything that you feel as a risk, or any changes happening in the scope? Where can I discuss all those things? That's why we have daily scrum call. This is not a status meeting, this is a collaboration. This collaborative meeting is going to help all of the team members, right? All of the team members are going to be there. And it's not about, okay, what went well, what could have been better. I'm going to share something more here. Okay. Ask your team members at the end of the daily scrum call to have the daily goal. What is this new concept, Sylvie? What is new? What is daily goal mean? It's very simple. Today, as a team, what is our target? No, already we have stories, right? Already we have stories, already we have tasks. What exactly we are trying to say? Sometimes what happens, I'm going to tell a very practical scenario. Okay. You have lot of reviews which are available your peer, your colleagues need to support, and everyone has so many things on their plate, but peer review status is not moving. You are able to see that every story, like this task is in peer review, this is in peer review, APA contract is in peer review, this design is in peer review, this documentation is in peer review. Now let's set a this day, let's set a goal for ourselves. Hey, today we are going to clear this queue of peer review. So this is going to give some kind of indication for everyone. This is something as a goal that we need to achieve. Some days you need to support your tester in the pair testing. It's not going to be the end of the day, end of the sprint, you are going to deliver everything, right? That's no more a concept. We are getting into sprint means we need to have frequent releases. We can't wait. Everything should happen in parallel. But how to achieve that? There are different concepts, right? You can strengthen your automation test case. You can have a sanity test suite which can run from the beginning. That is one way. And you can have strong gating process in your CI/CD pipelines where you can execute some automation test suites. That is also feasible. For new functionalities, you should be sitting with your developer at different levels of testing, because only QA, what the person is doing, that is not the only testing, right? We have different levels of testing. There is a validation, there is verification. We are only focusing on verification, and that also is performed at the end, which is QA based. No. Verification is also something. When they are documenting, have they reviewed? Because documentation should also go through a review process, so that there itself we can find some issues, right? Okay, this seems to be not a good level of design. Somewhere this is going to be having a flaw, and these are the risks I'm calling out. Is something happening like that? Because that is also going to solve, or not, is not going to bring issues at the later period, right? Always early in the cycle we need to find issues. More and more we delay, we are going to have huge expense for that to fix it. So from the beginning, how we can ensure that? So today we are going to support our QA to have the pair testing on these modules. That can be your daily goal. Today we will complete the validation process of these documents. That is very important, because that will help us to enable to get into this design. Are we doing that? That can be our daily goal. So always start with this kind of thing, or end with this kind of goal setting for your team as a daily goal. And in addition to that, not go with the typical thing of like what went what sorry, what yesterday I have completed. No, let people talk about like what they foresee as a risk in completing the goal. That should be the first statement they should call out, because we as a team committed to the sprint goal, not only to the task. It's not only important to talk about what is the status of the task. It's very important to convey and to hear from every one of your team member what is our confidence level in committing, in achieving that commitment what we have made as a sprint goal. So hear that from your team members. Hear from them what are the risk factors that we foresee, and what are the dependencies still which are there or may have been identified yesterday or just a day before. How we can resolve that? So these are certain things which we need to ensure that we are discussing in the daily scrum call. It should not be like a kind of like a monotonous task, like, okay, I did yesterday this one. That is visible on the board, right? That is actually explained on the task itself. So how to make this meeting an interactive one, and also ensure that people are calling out where they need support. That is very important. You need to ensure that your team is vocal enough to explain that this is the concern I have, I need definitely support, can someone help me on that? And you need to find some person who is ready to help, or if not, you need to at least talk to your technical architect in the ways that how that person can get some support. So these are certain things in the daily scrum call you need to perform. So as a scrum master, I'm saying, but again, this is owned by the team, not the scrum master. But best practices are, these are certain things so that team is actually feeling comfortable. And any kind of discussion that you feel that it is not required for the entire team, always have a parking lot. And always make the team to get into the habit, if they have some additional questions to talk about, they should put in the parking lot. They should write it on the sticky note, and they should paste it on the parking lot. If you have a virtual team, let's actually share it in the Microsoft Teams or whatever the tool that you use for your collaboration. Let them add it. Hey, this is something I have for the parking lot today. So people who are interested, let them stay. Otherwise, they are going to have their routine work. Otherwise, we are just going to have everyone, and that's not going to be really fruitful. So these are certain things which are going to be really, really beneficial. And I have already shared some do's and don'ts. I'm not going to repeat that again. That may be so boring for you all. But please, if you have, you can ask me like whether this kind of practice I'm following, whether that will work. I may not be able to completely say that, but certain things I have shared in the do's and don'ts which really helped, which really worked for me. So I have shared that. If something more you need, you can also leave in the chat, or you can add it in the comment of the video, so that I can definitely add it over there. All right. So we know now how we are progressing daily, that is through the daily scrum call. What next? At the end, we reach the end. So now there are two events. One is my favorite. I won't say the other is not, it's not like not my favorite. As a scrum master, all the events are very important. The first one is sprint review, right? At the end of the sprint, we are going to, it's not a demo, it's not a demo meeting, or it's not a meeting where we showcase what we have developed. No, it's not the meeting for that. It's the meeting to bring every one of your stakeholder to the same place and inspect with them what we have actually achieved in the sprint, and also hear from them what are the comments or feedback they have which we can adapt for the future sprints. Two things we are doing: inspection, adapting. So inspection is for the one that we have completed, and the feedback for the future sprints. When I say feedback, oh, do this, don't do this, no, that's not the feedback. What is the feedback means? We should go through the future sprint backlog, at least one or two sprints. Upcoming two sprints backlog you can show very well in this meeting to your stakeholders. For example, uh, okay, I'm going to take the same example I have shared sometime back, right? The barcode scanning in the login page, that is going to come in the next sprint. We have planned. So product owner is displaying, hey, in the next two sprints we are going to discuss about these items. Now one of the stakeholders saying, hey, no, don't do that. We are no more interested to have barcode, because we learned it's not going to be helpful. We want to get into QR code. So now we are going to adapt this feedback and put it in our backlog. So now the barcode related story became obsolete, which means invalid. And the other story that we are going to create, which is the new one, is for the QR code. So what are we trying to do here? We are going to have constant touch or connect with our stakeholders through this meeting. That is one of the very important goal. We always say that no, we demo, we review the things as sprint review. So we say that yeah, we review. No, that is not the only. We review both the things, future, completed, both. So completed, we review to ensure, are we meeting the expectations of what business looked from us or expected from us? Is there any gap? If there is some gap, how are we going to fix that? Are they defects? Are they have nice to functionality? What is the priority of that? That's a product management call, but we will document that from that meeting. The next piece is, already we have made some plan, but the catch now is, are we aligned to the same thing what business is looking, or they have a different view and we are something else, we are having something else in our mind. So we are trying to match that. We are asking them, hey, this is what we are planning for the next two sprints. Are you guys okay? Then they'll say, no, we don't want this, no more, this is a valid one. Then we will take a step back, we will take a step, and then we'll say, okay, fine, we are removing this, we are adding this. So this is how sprint review meeting is going to happen. Now in the sprint review meeting, the biggest challenge what people generally ask is like, hey Selvi, like, first of all, I don't see most of the people who are my stakeholders are not attending the meeting. How can I even achieve this? Very fair question. First of all, calendarizing these events is very, very important. When I say calendarizing, not like, okay, coming Tuesday I have the sprint review, I will calendarize that today. No. For the upcoming 3 to 4 sprints, we should have all the events available in our calendars for stakeholders, for our team meetings, whatever it is, right? Even the daily scrum, how you are, it's a recurring meeting, so you have in your calendar. Same way, okay, this is my sprint ending day, and I have a global team, and my team is going to complete all my global representation. They are going to complete the sprint by so and so time, and I can very well have my sprint review meeting by so and so time. We need to have that plan, ensuring all the people are going to be available. Okay, still you cannot bring everyone, right? What is the next option? First thing, you should record. Sylvia, I'm recording, but no one is watching. Why are you not following up on that? Just create that kind of curiosity with your stakeholders, because you are trying to explain the uh, implemented product to your stakeholders. So first thing is, I need to get into that curious mode. Okay, what would have happened in the sprint? I should go and watch. That kind of curiosity you should bring. Like, you may have a thread that is running with your stakeholders as a scrum master. You may be having some kind of teams channel, or maybe a mail chain. You should ask, hey, I have shared the recording in this platform. Have you guys checked on that? Like, what about that functionality? Like, that was something that you people were really looking for. Can you please share some feedback about that? uh, is everything okay with that? And how about the things coming in the sprint backlog, in the future sprint backlog? These are the things we are planning. What about that? That kind of questions you should put, so that people will be like, oh, this happened in this sprint review, now I should go and watch. And someone, you can tag someone, because they would have asked, hey, no, Sylvie, like, when this is coming up, hey, no, you were asking, right? So this has been completed in this particular sprint. How about you checking that and giving a quick feedback for us? That will be really motivating for the team. So this is how you should engage your stakeholders, especially after the review. Definitely you cannot bring everyone to the show, but it is very, very important to ensure that somewhere you are able to make a change over there, and they are able to contribute and share their feedback with the team. Now sprint review is done. The next important meeting, which is my favorite, retrospective meeting. So why it's my favorite? I have shared one of the video related to order of the Scrum events. I have rated this in the highest order. The reason is, we cannot skip that at all. We cannot skip this meeting anytime. You cannot skip this meeting. If that is the case, can I skip refinement? Can I skip? Of course, refinement, we have a lot of options, because if your product backlog health is very, very good, I don't see a real need to do that. But can I skip planning? Can I skip daily call? We have options somewhere, but I won't really give that level of confidence. Hey, skip everything and only have retrospective. That's not my call. But if we are in a situation, why this event is very, very important, right? So we have in predictive model, when I say predictive, waterfall, or any project, we generally try to maintain something called as lessons learned register. Okay, what exactly that means? So whenever you are trying to learn something from the project, like when some mistakes are happening, or maybe we are how we resolve the dependency, or how this helped, how that helped, all those things, what you main how you maintain as a lessons learned. And this is like a growing document, right? Like, whenever something happens and you go and you write it, everything, you write things over there. Hey, this is what happened, and this is how we ensure that we are out of that situation, and this is helping us, and all those things, right? So all good. Where is our lessons learned register here? We don't have anything like that. I'm not comparing this and that, but this is very important, right? If there is a need for improvement, we need to know what we are doing better, and what we need to continue, what we need to stop doing. That is a very important call. For that, this is the only meeting. That's why I always feel that this meeting is very important for us as a team to improve in a continuous fashion. If we are skipping this, we don't know where all the mistakes, because we don't have a place where we discuss it, not in the daily call, not in the sprint planning meeting, not in the refinement session. Oh, this we would have done better, actually speaking. No, we won't do that. This is the only place. So if we are skipping this, if we are not performing this, then what will happen? We are completely closing the doors for improvement. We are not going to take as any improvement action for the next sprint. We are going to completely stuck in the place where we are today, and we feel that this is how it is. So this is very important, where as a team, not a debate show, for sure, we are going to express what are the concerns that we have, and then we come up with a solution. Not like solution means, oh, this is what we need to follow. No, that's not the thing. For something, we may get into some kind of options. For some of the things, we may not be able to find. We just need to do some trial and error. It's up to the team, because you as a team going to collaborate and come up with some options, get into some voting, pick the priority action items, and take those action items for the upcoming sprint as a model to implement it, so that we are seeing some kind of continuous improvements. So That way, this meeting is very, very important to discuss about certain things. So this meeting, I'm actually having some more episodes and videos coming up for this uh, event, retrospective event. uh, One of the very famous question people tend to ask for this about this event is, hey, like my team is not at all engaging. They don't even say anything as a concern. So how can I bring them? That's a very, very challenging part. That is the place where, as a scrum master, you need to find different options. When I say different options, you should go into this kind of template, that kind of template. I'm not going to talk about that because we have lot of different templates which are definitely engaging the team members, so you can use any of those templates. But how to bring the team as a whole, and it's not like, oh, this person has done mistake. That's not the whole idea of this meeting. As a team, how we can improve, that's the whole point here. So how are we going to make that? I'm going to share definitely in my upcoming video about this, but I'm just going to leave a tip here. Be transparent. When I say transparent, okay, you are collecting the action items, but there is no progress. When I'm saying something to someone and I'm looking for some improvement, and that person is making notes of everything, but I don't see any action, then why I will tell next time? I won't say. So, as a scrum master, it is very important not only making notes of those actions, sharing to the right people, maybe management, copying your team so that they know, yes, my scrum master is taking some action, and you are owning those actions to be completed. You are going to maintain that action items register. Make a note of everything. What is the action plan? When are we going to complete it? You are going to follow up on that particular status. You are going to tell as a scrum master in the daily scrum call, hey, guys, like this action item, we are getting closer, we are going to resolve that. This option is really helping, thank you so much, guys. So this is very, very important. As a scrum master, this is the way you are helping your team. Now, as a team member, I'm seeing some progress. Wow, my scrum master is helping me really. Now this is the place I should tell my concerns, right? If you are not bringing that trust, if you are not bringing that transparency, you are just talking and you are not allowing your team members to talk, you cannot expect your team members are going to be engaged in that meeting. Allow them to talk, but at the same time, it's not going to hurt anyone. It's not a debate show, it's not a blame game. No, you're not going to allow that. That's a simple technique you need to follow. You should allow everyone to share the concerns, but you should initiate certain discussion as well. You feel something is going wrong and no one is ready to talk, you should say, hey, like, guys, I have observed something, please correct me if I'm wrong. uh, how about changing this review process? Like, we don't have a standard guidelines at all, everyone is following on their own some review process. How about coming up with some standard? What do you guys thought? Can you share some experience? Maybe I'm not so much aware. Just start this kind of discussion. Now people will be like, hey, that's a valid point. A lot of issues have missed to next level, system level, because we don't have a standard unit test process and review process. Can we come to some kind of coverage we need to achieve? That's how people also come up with lot of options. And now you should not stop. No, 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 don't say these options, I'm not interested. No, allow them to talk. You may not be able to achieve everything in the upcoming sprint. No, definitely you may not have bandwidth. Take the priority items. That's where voting comes into picture. This is the place where you have voting. The event that allows voting is retrospective meeting, because you are collecting the collective feedback, and people are going to vote and then come up with the top 3 or top 4 for the upcoming sprint, and you are going to do that. And as a scrum master, maybe your technical architect is the action owner, doesn't matter. You need to follow up, you need to do the justice of taking that action item, getting into closure. That is where your team is going to feel, yes, I am able to see some actions actually turning into results. This is the place I need to share my concern. So this is how you need to make people talk in the meeting. I'm going to share more in the upcoming episode related to the retrospective meeting. So yeah, I think I have covered all the Scrum events in a very, very quick note. Hopefully, it would have helped most of you people. I love to hear questions if you have anything. Um, can sprint goal be made two different items or goal? Can sprint goal be made for two? Actually, can you have two goals? That's the question, Bilal. Can you please explain more on the question? Okay. Anyone else has any other questions before? Okay. As a Scrum Master joining a team which is working on a project, what are the tips you would say to follow to catch up? Okay. So you are joining as a Scrum Master. So your team is already existing. You are a new Scrum Master. So first thing, observe. Don't get into any action because generally, I can say what generally we tend to do. Um, okay, I worked on something like this earlier. Why this team is not like working in that fashion? Maybe for this team, it may not be required. They are actually going on the right path, which we are unaware. So take time, observe your team, and understand whether the team is actually doing the right things or not. And if you feel something is not working, observe for at least 2 to 3 sprints to know the pattern. I always use this word for most of the things. As a scrum master, it is very important not to get into conclusion with one sprint. Always wait for 2 to 3 sprints just to understand whether this is a pattern or this is just an instant that's happening for one time. So wait for that, observe it, and then try to even listen. Only in the listen mode you be there in the retrospective meeting. Let people talk, and now you will be able to understand teams flow, and you will also be able to know that whether where you can actually contribute, where you feel that okay, this is the place I feel I need to share something, this is the place where team is already doing so well. Start sharing the feedback, start with good things. Hey, this is something I'm learning from you guys, I have never seen things like that in my past. So I just want to add something more here which may be helpful. So start from the retrospective meeting, start identifying whatever the places, whatever the gaps that you have identified in places, start sharing in a subtle way. But first thing is only listening mode. Okay, story explanation. We have a separate topic, Madhu. I'm not covering that today. That's a very important topic. So I just need definitely 1 hour. So I'll take maybe the next live stream for that, starting with how to estimate what are the factors, then complexity bucket, then we have planning poker, then the representation. I love to conclude, I love to add in this session, but it will be too much for people who are joining us. But thank you so much for your addition. I'll definitely take this in the next live stream. Okay, so my team member is an experienced staff and always skips retro, thinking his presence is not needed as he's a busy person. How do you encourage such difficult people? Yes. So go in their way. When I say go in their way, ask people who are experienced people who are skipping the retrospective meeting, tell them, hey, like if you come and you explain certain things, it will be really helpful for me because I am lagging in some places, and your experience definitely will help me. How about you coming and just be there as a spectator, and slowly you engage them by calling their name, like, hey, like, how about you sharing some ideas, ABC, XYZ. Then they will be start talking, and maybe you can actually involve them in the places where you need some support. Like for example, your architect is not at all coming, and estimation is always a trouble factor in your team, and you can definitely call the person who is not interested to join the retrospective meeting, saying that you have a lot of experience, ABC, please can you please come, because your inputs will be really helpful for me to drive this. And if you can come and share your experience, that way I will also be able to learn, and team also will be helpful. Just go in their way and bring them in the way that they will be able to share some inputs, not as they giving some kind of action items. It's not the way that you are calling them, more like you are going to take their guidance. That's the way you should involve them first, and after coming you should actually slowly engage them in the way that they can explain the things, or they can call out what are the challenges they are facing. Okay, I see a lot of questions coming in. Okay, let me try to catch up. Hi Sylvie, how many product owners will be there for an application? How many teams, SMs approximately for a large project? Okay, see, the first thing is, uh, It is always good to have one product owner for one team. If too many product owners, it's like too many people telling the priority. I don't know sometimes whom to listen, so that may get into confusion. Honestly speaking, Scrum Master can handle definitely multiple projects. That's a trend now. But you should, it's challenging because every team is not going to be the same. Because it's not like we write user stories or explaining the things. Based on the team, you need to also customize certain things. And you should also follow up more with certain things. No need to follow up for certain things. That is how it is, right? So it is very important. You need to maintain a balance. But 2 to 3 teams is definitely manageable for a scrum master, but time management is the key here. Of course, all the scrum events are time boxed. Same way, as a scrum master, we should be very good in time management skills. If we are good in time management skills, for sure we should be able to manage 2 to 3 projects, and you should be able to see good level of progress in the same way. And do not compare your teams. And from product owner point of view, one application or one project, one product owner. So the team is having the clarity whom they need to listen to and what is the priority, and who is actually going to tell the priority. That way it is very clear, direct communication. Is PO responsible to perform UAT during the sprint review windows? As we say, our product owner is our internal stakeholder, right? So it is always the best to ask your product owner to have a quick round of testing or what they expect. See, if I'm asking something uh, to a developer, like, or a requirement I have shared to the team, it is very important before I accept that. I should also have a check, right? Like whether it is meeting my expectations or not. So it is very good to have a dedicated environment. If not a dedicated environment, I always suggest a playground environment where you have a sanitized, it's a sanitized environment, which means it's not like anytime we have a deployment that will go there. No, the only tested and accepted stories will be deployed over there so that it can be used by people and they can actually share the feedback. Because only review meeting is not the only place, right? You should share an environment to your stakeholders so that they can use that as a playground and come up with more requirements, or maybe they can share some kind of feedback. So you should allow that option not only for your PO, to your product management team and all your stakeholders who may be mostly internal. And you can call that as UAT or staging. It depends on the organization. It depends on the project life cycle with the environments what you have. So, but it is always good to have that kind of environment shared with your stakeholders. And your product owner is your internal stakeholder. He or she is your first customer. So definitely you need to share the uh, deployed or the implemented feature to them so that you can get the feedback. Do companies follow Scrum methodologies as it is, or or is it evolving with hybrid methodologies like other SDLC plus Scrum? Definitely, I won't say we are not using as it is. We are trying to make it as hybrid in certain places. You would have seen the project kickoff meetings still happening. You would have seen project planning meetings, and the overall project scope document. These all things are not part of Agile, right? It's actually coming from the predictive model. So still we have these kind of things. So I say that mostly it is hybrid. In some places we can see a very matured Agile approach, but whatever works for us, that is the stuff, right? It doesn't matter whether we are using hybrid or Scrum, or just following whatever as it is. At the end of the day, we can definitely customize. That's what people also suggest, because we need to look into our problems and what can solve our problems. That is how our approach also should be. So definitely there is no harm in using the hybrid if the project demands it, or if the project is demanding just to go with directly the adaptive model, which is any form of Agile like Scrum or Kanban, we can go ahead with that. But I have seen both happening, and it is again helpful for all of us, because uh, when we have the approach which is flexible, then things also will be having smooth execution. Okay, could you please explain ordering and priority on a high level? And PO is coming up with 2 priority stories. As a Scrum Master, how you manage the situation? Okay, so ordering and priority. Uh, okay, so this is actually like in the product backlog that happens, which is an ongoing activity. Okay, so whenever your product owner is actually he or she is the owner, right? So whenever business requirements are coming, the priority will be keep shuffling. Yesterday there may be some priority that may go down or that may increase. So what I was saying is like, first start using the priority field in a very very concrete way, which means you should be able to put this field with some value. When I say you, it's your product owner, first thing. And the next thing is, when I say that we are using that, the high priority item should go for the refinement. That's the place where you are going to have the strong hold from the backlog refinement meeting. The second part of the question is that PO is coming with two priority stories as a scrum master. How you manage the situation? You no need to manage the situation. That's product owner's problem. See, I see a lot of people trying to solve everything that's happening around us. No, we have dedicated roles to solve the dedicated issues, right? We don't need to solve the problem related to product backlog. If two items are having same priority, it is product owner's responsibility to say which one is holding high priority and which can stay, which can move. That is product owner's call. Okay, but product owner should maintain the product backlog in a way high priority items are on the top, so that even if the product owner is not available, team should be able to know what is the next sprint should go with. So that is actually everyday activity, or it should happen on demand basis. Like whenever product owner gets some information related to priority, product owner should go and take immediate action on the product backlog, right? So that is product owner's call. From scrum master point of view, product owner is telling the priority. As a team, we are coming up with the sprint goal. Let's help in the sprint execution. Let's try to have a smooth execution. That is what sprint scrum master role is all about. Okay. Okay, I will, whatever the second question from Anvita, I will stop here because we will be running late here. So I'll be just taking that as the last question. So I have a team of experienced developers who are in company of 25 years plus. They skip some of the meetings, but end of the day they deliver on time. How can I improve in such team? Yeah, this is same thing, like same question. Like some of my team members are skipping the retrospective meeting. How to ensure and bring them? You should actually respect their experience, right? They are in the organization for so long, and they are actually guiding the team with different factors. So you should use their experience and guidance, and use the principles what we have from Agile, and bring us an approach. It's not like, okay, they are not following, so I will no, use their guidance, bring them, explain to them what are you trying to solve with this new approach. Maybe they would have worked in predictive. Now what this adaptive model is going to help you, please explain the problem statement and solution to them. And if they are attending some meeting, how it is going to be valuable for your team. Like for example, daily scrum call, if they are attending, how the team is going to be benefited, right? How they are going to learn, how they are going to actually take some inputs from this person who is experienced, and how that meeting is going to be, as a collaborative meeting, it is going to be helpful for the team rather than going and meeting that person alone. How that knowledge is going to be shared across the team. That is how actually we need to explain to that person. See, everyone can understand, but it's all about like what value I can bring if they know that they are going to be there. If I don't feel my presence or absence is not going to make any value, I may not be interested to attend. That's how it's all about, right? So as a scrum master, it's my duty why this event and what your presence is going to add. So that if we start explaining to people, definitely you can bring them. That's how I have seen that. And it's not, it takes time, it takes with different people different time, but there is always an option. Do not hesitate to explain things. Do not reach out to people and explain that, hey, if you come, it's going to be really helpful, and I have seen you explaining things at different places. How about you coming to one place and sharing your knowledge, right? Same thing, take my example. I Many people have approached me for different questions. I have shared the same question, same answer to different people. Then I realized I should put some information in a common platform where people can access it, so that they will be able to it's also easy for me. If there are extra questions, I can take it, but at the same time I'm able to connect with many people at the same time. That's how it is. So please explain to people and bring them to those events. And ensure their value is counted and it is really helping the team. Okay, thank you so much. Please tell me your contact number if you have any group or community. Okay, sure. Yeah, I'll reach out to you, Madhu, on that. Uh, you can find my email ID in the community. If not, I can again share it with you all. If you have any more questions, you can definitely reach out to me on that. I have few questions. That's from Anvita. Sometimes even during sprint planning, we see that the team is not 100% clear. Okay. Second question, I conduct stand up exactly how you explain, but sometimes some tend to over explain and we cannot respect time. This again demotivates team and they tend to skip stand up. No, this is, see, two questions, two different questions. So one is 100% clear means definition of ready is not seriously counted in your team. You should ensure that you are opening the DOR and calling out what is the actual value of DOR. There is a way to measure the DOR. Probably you need to start doing that so that you can say there is a gap, which means we cannot pick up this. And also you should say how it really helped. Sorry, how it really created problem for us. Like for example, when you have unclear items, what will happen? You may as a team, you may ask a lot of questions in the daily Scrum call, which is actually not going to be really interesting for most of the people. And that moment, we may develop something which is a half cooked item. And at the end of the sprint, we again need to create one story to fix everything because that is when we know what exactly we want to do, right? That means we are lagging somewhere. Your backlog refinement should be strong and should be documented. What are the dependencies, what are the action items, and what are the open questions we have. Do not allow team to estimate. Or if team is super confident, please go ahead. It's about team's call, right? Because as a scrum master, we are not giving the estimation, team is giving the estimation. But if there are open questions, help your team to explain, hey guys, like last time also this happened, like we are estimating with a lot of open questions. At the end of the day, we are unable to match that. How about we tend to get into the concept of DOR achievement and then go and estimate a story so that we are aligned. So that way team will be really helpful. Sorry, you will be able to help your team to explain this estimation as well at the right time. And also the DOR is exactly used. It is all about the usage of DOR. If there are unclear items, please do not proceed. If there is confidence from the team, okay, there is this wireframe is missing, but we know what is going to be in the wireframe because we clearly have explained that, got into that explanation in the refinement. So it's not going to be a problem, then please go ahead. But if something which is very unclear, the requirement itself is unclear, whether we need to have a barcoding or QR code, both of them, no, it can't be, right? So these kind of high level issues or high level uncertainties, please do not encourage team to proceed. That's where we as scrum master need to help our team to explain them, hey, these are not going to be helpful if we pick that, if we pick these things in the sprint execution, definitely we may be getting into blockers. So let's try to understand how we can hold this. Product owner, we need your support because we have unclarities here. Second question, in stand up, you need to explain your team, you need to be a timekeeper, you need to stop people, because it's all about, that's why I talked about the parking lot, right? Whenever there is a topic that is coming which is out of scope about the meeting from the meeting agenda, you should be stopping then and there. Hey, very good question, I respect your question, let's have at the end of the session, or please stay after the daily call, let's have the discussion. So that's how actually we should be able to stop the team and also respect the questions that are coming. It should not be like, no, you should not ask anything. No, that's not the go, right? It's very important that people are using this because this is more of a collaboration. That's very, very important in the daily scrum call. But we should be very, very respectful about the time. Every person, like you have 10 members in your team, if they are taking 5 minutes extra, 15 minutes we are wasting, right? 15 minutes. Maybe out of the 10 members, 8 members are not interested even in the topic, just they are standing for no reason. 15 minutes from the overall team is not good. Imagine every day we are investing this kind of 15 minutes, which is not really effective. That's not a good scenario. So please stop them wherever you see that you need to stop, and also tell them, hey, we have a parking lot, let's use that, and start using that parking lot more and more, so that your team knows, okay, people are not going to listen even if I'm going to have this conversation, and they will start taking that as a parking lot question. So that way, actually, we are encouraging teams time, and also we are ensuring that we are sticking to our time. All right, love this live stream. Thank you for, okay, thank you so much. Selvi, this is okay. Could you please make live on practical way shows like an Atlassian website if you have a choice? Okay, I can think of about the tool. Okay, I'll definitely keep a note of that. Thank you so much. Okay, awesome. So I think we kind of like running late, but I'll take another 2 to 3 minutes. So first of all, thank you so much for participation, and I'm trying to be more available on the YouTube platform, because I was available in different places like podcast. I don't know, like anyone came from podcast, but yeah. But going forward, what exactly you can expect from this platform, I'm just going to talk about that for a minute. The first thing is, you would have already seen we have started daily quiz, but there is no specific cadence. I have shared the quiz sometimes on 10 p.m., sometimes 5 p.m., 6 p.m. So every day from Monday to Friday, you are going to see a quiz that is going to be on the community as well on the YouTube shorts, because I have just created a poll. I have seen most of the response for the community, and there are few people who are also requesting things on the YouTube shorts. So I'm just going to take both of their opinion. So we are going to have at 6 p.m. both in the YouTube shorts as well in the community. That's something which is Agile quiz. So you can actually answer directly in the quiz in the community, and also you'll be able to see the answer, which is explaining why the answer is uh, correct, why the particular option is correct. So you will be able to learn at least one topic every day. That's my goal also. And every day morning you'll be able to share a post from me, which helps you to go through one topic. Why I'm sharing this is my way of learning as well. May be helpful for many, may not be for few people. But what I prefer is, like, every day you start going through one topic. It will be really helpful for you to collect the overall information in short period of time. This is also agile, right? Take one at a time, completely work on that, close it, move to the next one. That's how it is. So same way you can follow. So morning you will see one post which is talking about one particular video or one particular topic. You can go through that video or the topic whenever you find time. That evening you'll be able to see a quiz question in the community, also in the YouTube shorts. So that's something. Next thing is, now we are actually going through the Scrum related topics. We will continue on that. The next thing what I'm going to share is, as of now the Scrum topics are, you won't see me actually, like you can only hear my voice, because I generally post the same in the podcast as an audio, and I also use the same for the conversion in the YouTube as well. So you may not be seeing me there. That is going to continue the same way, but I'm going to start a video series going forward on separate topics. So the first topic is actually scenario based questions. So when we say scenario based question, it is very important. You should be explaining what is the problem, how you resolved it, and what are the steps that you have taken. Right. That's how actually you explain some scenario based question. You should give an example. What is your role over there? What exactly happened? What you did and how you resolve the problem. So I'm going to explain in that way. Scenario based questions. That scenario based questions may be from any topic. Like, I'll try to. It may be helpful for people who are trying for who are appearing for interviews now, or who are preparing for interviews now. Definitely it will be helpful. So that's something I'm planning to start, and which will be getting started mostly from next week. And you will see videos on that, direct videos, which may not come on podcast, I believe, because that's an audio platform. So I'll figure out how I can make sure people are also getting benefit over there. And the next thing is, we are not going to stop at Scrum. uh, I have already started working on the Kanban topics, safe topics, plus project management topics. Lean, I'm keeping at the last. So these three, I'm going to have separate playlist. As of now, the playlist is very confusing, maybe because only we have two. I'll try to segregate. start going through the videos, learn each and every topic every day, so that you'll be able to get more and more questions, get more and more concepts. Try to share your questions in the same video. When you are going through some video, you have some questions, or you don't know where exactly the other topic you need to learn, please share the question over there. That will help me to immediately respond. When I say immediate, I may not be immediately responding, but as soon as possible, I'll definitely provide my inputs over there. So please share in the comments whatever the questions that you have, or your feedback, or your comments, anything that please share in those videos, so that it will be helpful for me to immediately, as early as possible, to respond. That's one request I have. And start participating in the quiz. Uh, I think I'm not sure how many people here are participating in the quiz every day, but I feel it definitely will be helping. At least you can try to observe one particular topic every day, which is going to be really fantastic. If you look like first 10 days, oh, you would have learned like 10 topics. That's amazing, right? So that's how I look everyday concept. And in addition, you will be going to see the Kanban plus safe and project management topics, uh, which are live, not live, which are like videos which will be coming. Live stream as of now, planning every month, first Saturday. That's the plan. Maybe I need again feedback. You can share your feedback to me, or put it in the comment section of this live stream. Uh, how you felt about this live stream? Is that helping, or maybe it's too much of information, or too much of talking? What exactly you need? Maybe you can share that. So please share your comments, and do subscribe to this channel, and share your support. That way it will be really motivating and helping me to get into the next steps. If you have more people, we will gather a lot of questions, and also have more live streams to have more of interaction, to understand where we can improve. Yeah, so that's all I have from my end. If uh, Sorry, Madhu, that's okay. I'll share the podcast link if someone is interested. The same things what is available in YouTube, you can also see over there. I can share that. And time is actually the same time we are planning, but if you people have any suggestions on the timing, I really don't know like who all are the participants today, from which place, and which countries you are joining. So you can definitely share your feedback about the timing. We can go with the time that is actually helpful for everyone. We can definitely look into that. All right. Any quick thoughts from anyone? Maybe we'll open for a minute and we can end the stream. Okay. So I think we are good. Thank you so much. Let's meet next month. Before that, we will have good level of interaction in the community. Stay connected with the channel. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you all. Bye bye.